in for last week when we talked about dental cleanings, and if you didn't, you can see last week's video on Facebook or on YouTube, both of which you can subscribe or like our page and get updates all the time. This week, we're going to be talking about dog toys. My name is Alex, and my dog's name is Kuza, and his favorite toy is a tug toy. And I thought we'd go around and introduce ourselves, and everyone is going to talk a little bit about their dogs and their favorite toys.
Yeah, so my dog Sam, his favorite toy, they're like segmented squeakers. They're like 6 feet long, and they have 15 different squeakers in them, and those are his absolute favorites, inside and outside.
My name is Melissa. I have 3 dogs, Gertie, Jack, and Bruiser, and their favorite toys are the Kong.
My name is Stacy. I have 3 dogs. I have a lab, Oscar. I have a bear wolf looking guy that I keep mentioning. His name's Enzo. And I have a shepherd named Cora. They are actually not big toy dogs. It's funny, when we have other dogs over, they suddenly are very interested in our toy bin that they haven't looked at for weeks or days. But when they are interested, they really like their antlers. And yeah, actually Antler's the top one for us.
That's true. Hi, I'm Jill. I have 2 dogs, Buddy and Hercules. And Buddy doesn't really love toys unless Hercules has a toy, and then Buddy is all over Hercules' toy. So I would say that they like the tug toy, so they both can tug on it, or even just a simple tennis ball. And you're right, as puppies, they love the antlers.
Awesome. So it sounds like we touched on a few of the different toy types that people use. I think we touched a little bit on the interactive toys, which is what a fetch toy or a tug toy would be, which is when a human interacts with a dog. So we're tugging on a toy, or 2 dogs are tugging on a toy together, or fetch, which is obviously you throw the ball and the dog goes and fetches it. Hopefully. Right. Hopefully. Does anybody have dogs who don't like fetch?
I do.
Yes. Do you throw the ball and then it just kind of
It just sits
sits
there.
there?
And they look at me like, you're going to get
Sam loves fetch. He's a classic fetch dog.
Does he drop the ball when you comes back?
He prefers that I chase him after he catches the ball, but he will eventually drop it. So.
Does he ever dig and then hide the ball?
He's never hidden a ball, but he does dig and hide other things. So it could be coming.
What about tug toys? Does anybody have experience with tug toys?
We don't use that much. I'm trying to think. I feel like when we first got Sam, we had rope toys and we used rope toys, but I think like they all got destroyed by foster dogs, and then we just never got them again. He's really into the squeaker toys.
Gertie, she likes the tug toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's so strong that it's a challenge. She likes, so she does. She'll play with those.
Totally.
Yeah.
The funniest part is that, as I said, Buddy and Hercules like the tug toys, and Buddy is much smaller than Hercules, and Buddy wins every time. It's like persistence.
I'm not giving up.
He has to win that toy, so it's a great toy for them.
So with the fetch thing, Oscar is a total fetch lunatic, and then Enzo gets involved so he can steal it and run off with it, so that Oscar has to chase him. And then as soon as he's realized that Oscar's not paying attention, he drops the ball.
Have you guys seen those hilarious fetch toys where the dog has to bring the ball back and they drop it in and then it like
We have one.
Does it?
I have one. Yeah.
You do figures.
I know. Well, so my mom actually got it for the boys so that she just loved the thing. So it does technically work. However, Oscar is determined to still have me throw it. So he will drop it right in front of it. He'll then paw the thing, like, what is wrong with you? Pick it up and like, let's keep playing. So yes, we do have one. It is cool. It's actually really cool. I do like
I've seen a lot
it.
of videos of those, but I was at the pet store last night with Sam, and did you guys have super soakers ever?
Yes.
So they market it. It's made as a super soaker, but it launches tennis balls. So, okay.
Yep.
Okay, well there's lots of different types of toys apparently, and you can market them in all kinds of ways to make people want to buy them. I think Melissa touched on a different type of toy, which is the Kong. And it actually, you can put food in it, and it kind of like
Keeps them busy. Keeps
them busy.
Quiet sometimes. It's
Yeah. Has anyone
peanut
else?
butter. Like she likes some frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She loves that.
We did this a lot with like foster puppies. Our favorite thing with the Kong is those frozen meatballs that you can buy. stuff a frozen meatball
that's good.
in the compost.
That's
and
smart.
It takes them forever to get it
To
out,
get
but
it
it's
out.
like so appetizing.
really
Like they're
good.
like really
They're
into
really,
it. Like they don't
really
lose
into it.
interest in it. So
Is that done to like a plain yogurt? You can put blueberries
That's
in
really
there.
good, yeah.
You can
Pumpkin.
freeze that, yeah.
Yep,
That's
yep.
a really good.
I
maybe
know.
just canned food and freeze it.
Yeah.
You know, I actually just thought of something. I've had friends along the way who aren't really experienced dog moms and dads. And I got as a gift those really pretty white rawhide shoes. And I learned that those things are soaked in chlorine bleach.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, as an FYI to our Let's Talk Dogs community, we're going to be touching upon treats, food, what we feel about them just from our own experience with dogs, what we think works for them, what gives them tummy aches. Just so you know, that should be probably in the next few weeks.
Awesome. There's also some, I know that I have for my dog used food dispensing toys that actually dispense kibble. And that's a really good way, it has been a really good way for him to get his dinner and also kind of be active with it. And he's super tired after. Do you guys have any experience with those?
No.
I have a food cube. Those like super rock hard, like indestructible. They are indestructible. This thing has lasted, I mean, years, like probably 7 years I've had this thing for.
Wow.
And it's great. It does exactly that. You put it's this block, and you just put the food into the
Is
center
that like
and turn the little
around?
thing. What'd you say?
Do they like knock it around?
Yeah, and so they just like are determined to get the food out, and this thing does not crack. It doesn't, I mean, it's awesome. So you can either do it for treats or for an entire meal.
Now, did you get that like online at a pet store?
Bought it at one of the smaller like local stores,
Mhm.
and I love it. It wasn't inexpensive, but I will say that I mean, my own Oscar, he vacuums his food, and it's a great way for him to just, unfortunately for him, have to slow
Yeah.
down, and it's entertaining, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one where it's a shape, it's basically like a tippy thing, and you put the food in, and he basically has to paw it and like tip it over to get the food out. And I used to live in an apartment, and I would feel really bad when we would do it because I felt like it was making a lot of noise on the floor. And I
Tap, tap, tap.
and my poor downstairs neighbors would probably be like, "What is that noise?" for like an hour while he's like trying to eat the food. But it worked really well. It took him like an hour to eat, so I think that was awesome. What about you, Kayla?
I don't think I've ever used one with Sam. We had like I guess similar. It wasn't a block, it was like a ball. And then, you put the stuff in it, and then they would eventually figure out to like roll it to get the treats out, but we haven't used it in a while.
Yeah, it's been those types of toys have been a really good way, especially with the pros and cons,
Yeah.
to like distract them too. Like when I have, like repair people come over. I don't know what your guys' dog is, but mine goes insane. So sometimes it's like good to distract him with like this food thing while people are in the house, and it takes them a while to get rid of all the food.
Yeah, with Gertie, I usually give it to her when I'm leaving, so she doesn't get
Oh,
so
yeah.
like stressed or
yeah.
nervous.
That's a
or-
great idea.
Yeah.
So she'll go quietly and, I can sneak out.
And then does anybody have any experience, I'm sure people do, and Stacey had mentioned these earlier, with antlers and those kind of like hard chew toys that are kind of like self-amusement toys. They're there, they're not super destructible, they take a long time. Does anybody have experience with those?
Hercules in particular, because we adopted Hercules as a puppy, he was insane over his antler, and even today we'll find a leftover one, and he'll still play with it. It was great for when they're teething and all their little teeth, and that was his favorite toy as a puppy.
Kuza has a crazy ability to chew everything and destroy everything. When I first introduced him to antlers, I gave him like a half one, so it was the marrow was exposed, and that like got him figuring out like, oh, this is like delicious stuff on the inside. Because when it's like a full antler, you actually don't, they can't really get to the inside part unless they have like figured out that that's a tasty part of the treat. So that was a really good tip that you had given me back in the day.
I mean, I love that. These things last forever. I mean,
They do.
I don't think
They
I've
do.
ever, I think I've tossed one because it was just getting too thin. But yeah, that's actually exactly how you get one of the split ones first, so that it does have the marrow, just to get them in the groove of like, oh wait, this is like a long time treat that I can really work on. And then they have all different shapes. They have all different, like they have the solid ones too. So I have a whole bunch of them because I do a lot of sitting and stuff. So I have dogs that come over that are like antlers. They get very excited. I mean, my dogs are like, yeah, we know. But so for all the other dogs, yeah, they're a good option though. And they're also really good because bones, as we said actually in our dental episode, but bones actually can crack a dog's teeth, and so these are a good alternative for, you can give them the occasional marrow bone, of course, but these are a good alternative for them to really be busy and not be hurt at the same time. Yeah.
My dog has also used kind of like the more traditional hard chew, which is I think is just like nylon, kind of like plasticky. I think my experience with that is that they're good, but then they kind of start like chipping away and like small pieces start coming off, and then I get worried that he's like swallowing them, and then at some point you have to like figure out when to throw them away. And that's like always a bit of a tricky fine line, like I need to take this away from you now, I'm sorry. And definitely another toy that you have to very actively watch, at least for me, are stuffies. So comfort toys, things, you know, like plush toys basically with squeakers in them. My dog tears those apart. I know there are other dogs who probably do the same.
Gertie also. I mean, it lasts probably 10 minutes and it's destroyed. Pieces, stuffing, squeakies, everything.
And they're so proud.
Yeah, they're so
I'm
proud.
all about getting that squeaker out.
She'll bring it over and like, are we going to play now? I'm like, well, you just destroyed it. So there's really no point. Yeah.
The problem that I have run into with stuffed animals and with the squeakies is that they are so good at it, they love it, and they're so proud. Then they go to our down pillows, and they're like, hey mom, this is a big squeaky toy. Look at us, and like I'll walk in, and unfortunately it's been like a sea of feathers. So I have to kind of limit those kind of things.
Yeah, they have those toys that are like the stuffless toys, like they're soft, but they don't have any actual stuffing in them.
Yeah, some of them have like a water bottle in there.
Yeah,
they
the
crunchy, it's very
yeah.
crunchy. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
so
those
some alternatives that look like stuffies, but they don't actually have the stuffing in
That's a good call.
them.
I've also used, so my dog's a really heavy chewer, same thing as Gertie, he will destroy it in a matter of 5 minutes. I've also gotten toys that are like made out of like fire hose that are supposed to be like super durable.
Yep.
More durable, not super durable, at least for Kuza. He's small, but he like has an impressively strong jaw. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have experience with heavy chewers and like what it's like for those dogs and how to like kind of mitigate the not buying $105 toys and how to kind of deal with that.
Sam's not really a very strong chewer, I wouldn't say. He's pretty average. So like the stuffies, they don't last a super long time, but they're also not like gone in 5 minutes.
Right.
He's pretty right in the middle.
I wouldn't say that they're big chewers. They're just more destructive.
So Enzo likes to chew things that are not toys. So he thinks that slippers are absolutely his. The male, I mean, it doesn't matter. He'll just find it. It's great because he thinks, nope, he owns everything. That's not an actual toy. I do have chewers that come over though, and so I end up, before they come over, I actually put away all of the stuffies. I put away the ropes. Anything that is swallowable, it goes away. I have some of like the super, super durable ones like you're talking about, that are still entertaining for them, but it's very difficult for them to rip pieces off. And then they still occasionally get tiny pieces off, like you said with the nylabone options. The other thing actually with the nylabones is I find they get very sharp. So if they really whittle down in certain areas, I toss them at that point too, because even if they're not too small, they've really become like a weapon. So I've
stepped on them before.
And
There's like stepping on like
Legos.
Yeah, and speaking of rope toys, I think you kind of mentioned that like swallowing stuff. I've heard kind of like stories about how dogs will chew rope toys and kind of swallow little strands, and then they can get like wrapped up inside. And one of my friends actually, her dog had to get surgery because of it. So definitely another kind of toy to like watch out for if they like to chew and you are kind of like out during the day.
I mean, I've heard of stories where dogs have eaten kids' little socks or adult socks and it gets lodged in their stomachs and they have to have surgery and it's really sad. Things that you just don't even expect can be dangerous for our dogs and stuff.
Definitely. I actually have really small feet, so my dog used to eat my socks. And then on that note, one of the reasons I actually got pet insurance was because of my dog's sock eating habits, and we're actually going to be talking about pet insurance next week, and Jill is going to be hosting next week's episode.
So be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and if you check out the YouTube channel, you can also subscribe to the videos so that you can kind of get an update when we have new videos that are being posted.
Thanks guys.
Thank you. See you next week.